A family without parents is out of the question.
My sister Lucy and I lost our parents in a car accident when we were young. Lucy's fiancé, Ethan's parents run a bank in our local town. We took over our parents' business. To Ethan's parents, we seemed to be the bottom line without parents and without education.
Then, I'll close our account.
Go ahead.
Saying that, Lucy immediately took action. My name is Mark Jones. I'll be 32 this year. I lived with my loving parents and sister, Lucy, who is 8 years younger than me, during my childhood. That peaceful life fell apart in the spring of my senior year of high school. After breakfast with Lucy as usual, we were seen off by our parents to school. That was the last time I saw my parents waving at us, full of life.
Mark, I heard your parents were taken to the hospital because of a car accident. Go to the hospital immediately.
My homeroom teacher, Mrs. Miller, told me, and I rushed to the hospital. By the time I arrived, my parents had already passed away.
Dad, Mom.
Seeing Lucy crying and calling for our parents, I decided to protect her, and instead of going to college, I resolved to take over our parents' company. Our parents had been running a pastry shop inherited from our grandparents. We already had several branches nationwide, and including the pastry chefs, our employees numbered in the thousands. Our parents' shop was always visited by many people, brimming with smiles. I had thought about working there someday, but sudden event left me unable to catch up with my feelings. Of course, it wasn't perfect from the start, and there were tough times and harsh words, but Lucy's charm was my solace. We liked to walk around the town between work. As Lucy walked, everyone we passed would greet us. From the elderly to children, everyone adored us. The local business owners we dealt with were also kind to us. It must have been because our parents always cared about others and were considerate. And Lucy grew up to be such a good person. Lucy was kind-hearted because she loved our parents deeply, always clinging to them on days off and going everywhere together. I remember how adorable Lucy was, talking to people in town, mimicking our parents. I felt so happy watching her. But that happiness didn't last long. Our beloved parents were suddenly taken from this world. At that time, Lucy had just started elementary school. After losing our beloved parents, Lucy was down for a while. I, too, was in despair after suddenly losing our beloved parents. However, I'm sure our parents' legacy lives on. Even without my teaching, our parents lived on in Lucy. Rather than me raising her that way, it was because I taught Lucy what I had learned from our parents, and she naturally grew up that way. I was very happy that my parents' farts had been passed on not only to me, but also to Lucy. I want to cherish our parents' memory for a lifetime. When our parents passed away, I realized I had two things I had to protect. It was Lucy and this company that my parents established. These two things were non-negotiable for me to safeguard. I immediately braced myself. I took over the company, continuing the work with our parents' passion in my heart.
Just like you supported me, I want to support you too.
With those words, Lucy helped out with the company I inherited from our parents whenever she had spare time.
Hey Joe, good to see you. I heard you hurt your back recently. Are you walking around okay now?
Well, I'm getting old, so it's normal for the body to start wearing down. But thanks for asking. What's really bothering me is the poor yield at the farm this year. It's been a real hit to my income.
Joe is our regular customer and runs a farm. He often comes by and shares various stories with us.
Is that so?
The crops are failing, and there are a lot of misshapen ones that no one wants to buy. The taste hasn't changed, but it's sad that I can't get people to appreciate them. They are all precious to me like my own children.
Joe has been a family friend since my grandfather's days. Nearly 60 now, but still actively working.
How much of that produce do you have?
It's quite a lot. I've been giving it away, so I'll bring some for Lucy next time.
While arranging cakes, I listened to the conversation between Lucy and Joe.
It looks like getting a loan from the bank might be tough too. You know, there are quite a few bad rumors about that bank.
Oh, you mean George? As I listened to Joe's story, I found myself interjecting as if something suddenly came to mind. George runs the local bank. Not exactly the best reputation. When I went there for the inheritance, they took me to a private room because of the large sum, but their condescending attitude when I revealed I was the heir is still fresh in my mind. Moreover, they aggressively tried to push investments on me, so I practically ran out of there.
Their eldest son is such a pitiful guy, really kind-hearted. He seems to suffer a lot because of his arrogant parents.
After Joe left, Lucy seemed deep in thought. Then, while still in high school, Lucy made a groundbreaking idea. Based on Lucy's idea, we created a website to sell produce that usually wouldn't sell. It was like a site to revitalize the local area, featuring not just our cake, but various local stores, allowing their products to be purchased online. We set up a special page for misshapen or imperfect goods, selling our less than perfect sweets and Joe's farm produce at reduced prices. Thanks to this, we significantly reduced waste, and Lucy received strong appreciation from local businesses. Even as a college student, Lucy continued to empathize deeply with people. Lucy actively helped, and together we worked hard to boost the company. We focused on supporting sales and promotional activities through the internet, especially for local businesses. Initially, while managing the pastry shop, we continued with the online promotional activities Lucy initiated. Though not everything went smoothly, our efforts gradually led to increased sales. I decided not to marry until Lucy became an adult. Lucy said, "Don't worry about me," but I chose to live with Lucy myself. For Lucy's sake as well, I threw myself into work after that. There were tough times, but having Lucy by my side always helped me get through them. Then, in the blink of an eye, Lucy grew up impressively. Yet there was one thing that concerned me. She showed no interest in dating. During her school days, Lucy was very popular, and I often saw young men of her age coming to our house to confess their feelings. However, Lucy seemed to struggle with talking to men. "Lucy, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. But don't you want to have a boyfriend?" I couldn't help but think she should enjoy her once-in-a-lifetime school days without worrying, especially since she always helped with work as soon as she got home from school. But Lucy just shook her head disinterestedly.
I don't really understand romance. I'd rather work and be of help to you.
Whenever I brought up the topic of love, she'd respond coolly and focus on her work. While I was happy to see her enjoying her daily life as a brother, I couldn't help but feel a bit worried. After graduating from college, Lucy joined my company. I told her there was no need to force herself into the company, but she insisted on protecting the company our parents had cherished, just as we had. Lucy was very dependable and gradually began to show her capabilities as a business leader. So, I handed over the CEO position to her. The reason was simple. Unfortunately, I lacked the talent for management. Everything I had achieved was thanks to the people around me, And it is also thanks to Lucy's advice.
We should digitize and summarize this document. If we analyze the data, we can predict the sales more accurately.
She was like our father, having a knack for business, something even a close business associate had mentioned. Conversely, I preferred back-office tasks. I liked being fully occupied with my work, silently carrying out tasks. That's why, after Lucy graduated from college, I asked her to take over the company, and she accepted. True to her word, Lucy has been protecting the company. The website has been successful, with an increasing number of stores joining and flourishing. Joe and other local members praised her, saying, "She is working very well, and Lucy was working harder." Since Lucy became the CEO, I've been supporting her in her duties, striving to create a better company. Feeling the tension ease, I was relieved. My role had been passed on. Now, my job is to support Lucy from the side. During this time, one day, Joe talked to me about a dinner with an acquaintance. His farm had seen a significant reduction in waste and an increase in sales, leading him to adore Lucy as a lifesaver, treating her like his own daughter. Lucy still didn't have a boyfriend, so I thought it was a great opportunity. However, she was not interested at all and would refuse the dinner.
Don't be like that. The guy is really nice. Why not meet him first before deciding?
Joe told me that the guy was the eldest son of George, the president of the bank, and that he was a very good-hearted young man and wasn't good with women. When Joe told him about Lucy, Joe suggested he have dinner with her. Lucy reluctantly agreed to the dinner invitation. It seemed Joe was also concerned about Lucy's lack of romantic interests. "I owe a lot to your parents. I hope this can be a way to repay them. Even if just a little, they'd be happy in heaven." And Joe laughed. Lucy and I headed to the designated fancy restaurant on the dinner day. This was my first time going to such a dining event, and I was feeling nervous. However, seeing Lucy even more nervous beside me eased my tension a bit. I rubbed Lucy's back, which was shrinking with nervousness, and we made our way to the private room where we were led. Upon entering, next to Joe and his wife, there sat a refreshing and kind-looking young man. His clear gaze and straight posture were so impressive that even I, a man, found myself admiring him. He introduced himself as Ethan, showing a modest smile. Meanwhile, I was so nervous that I stumbled over my own name. That day, only Ethan, Joe, and his wife were at the restaurant. Ethan's parents were nowhere to be seen.
"I'm sorry. My parents couldn't make it today due to other commitments."
Ethan looked quite troubled, while Joe cheerfully tried to lighten the mood.
Ethan's parents are probably busy. If things progress, we can meet his parents later. Today, it's important for these two to get to know each other.
I nodded in agreement with Joe's words and focused on watching Lucy and Ethan without further concern for Ethan's parents. Glancing at Lucy, I noticed her cheeks were blushing. It seemed Ethan's smile had touched her heart. At that moment, I knew my role was to support Lucy. If Lucy wasn't interested, I had no intention of forcing the relationship. However, surpassing my expectations, Lucy seemed to have a favorable impression of Ethan. Ethan, too, appeared to enjoy conversing with Lucy, and I hoped their relationship would go well. To help the extremely nervous Lucy talk with Ethan, I initiated conversations for them. As they talked, Lucy's nervousness gradually faded, and Ethan's smile grew wider. Even without my prompting, the two of them chatted happily. It seemed my worries were no longer necessary. That day, They exchanged contact information before parting. Lucy didn't say much, but she must have taken a liking to Ethan. They continued to keep in touch frequently. I even spotted Ethan visiting our store several times. About 6 months later, Lucy informed me that she was considering marrying Ethan. Hearing that, I couldn't help but silently pump my fist in joy. My little Lucy, who never made a boyfriend, finally gets married. It was a moment filled with deep emotion, and that evening, I quietly looked through the family photo album left by our parents while having a drink. Moreover, the partner was Ethan. After the dinner, Lucy and I met Ethan a few more times. Ethan was a genuinely good person, modest yet empathetic. Much like Lucy, I grew to like Ethan a lot, and the thought of him becoming my brother-in-law made me genuinely happy. Following Lucy's announcement, Ethan visited us on the following day off to formally introduce himself. "I'm really happy about you two getting married. Ethan, please take good care of Lucy." When I said this, Ethan responded with a pleased smile.
I will keep her for the rest of my life.
But we should greet Ethan's family too, especially since we couldn't meet them at the dinner. Can we arrange a proper greeting sometime? However, as I mentioned this, Ethan's expression turned somber. "What's wrong with you?" Ethan hesitantly began to speak.
My family isn't very close, and I'm afraid they might cause unpleasant feelings for you and Lucy.
Ethan looked genuinely distressed. It seemed there were some concerns. Indeed, I recalled Joe mentioning how Ethan was troubled by his arrogant and selfish parents. Lucy, knowing his situation, patted Ethan's back. Still, skipping a formal greeting before marriage registration didn't seem right from an etiquette standpoint. Wanting to formally express our sentiments before sending my dear sister off to marriage, I felt the need for a proper greeting. There might be some issues, but I still think a greeting is necessary. Could we perhaps have just a short time to formally introduce ourselves? After asking again, Ethan seemed troubled but then nodded.
All right. I'll talk to my parents.
Ethan agreed, though his expression remained tense. A few weeks later, Lucy and I got into the car to visit Ethan's parents for a greeting. Ethan's family consisted of his father, mother, and younger brother, a family of 4, and today everyone was present.
Nice to meet you. I'm Lucy, in a relationship with Ethan.
I'm her brother, Mark. Thank you for having us today. As Lucy and I introduced ourselves, Ethan's family of 3 scoffed at us through their noses. Their attitude seemed to look down on us from the start, causing me to feel uncomfortable. Ethan sat silently, head bowed. Ethan's family has been running a bank locally for generations. Many local businesses, including ours, have been indebted to them. Despite feeling scrutinized as if being sized up, I made an effort to initiate conversation without showing any discomfort. Initially, we stuck to small talk, but gradually Ethan's family started bragging about themselves.
Does the food suit your taste? We employ a top-tier chef, so this is usual for us, but perhaps you've never experienced such a meal before.
Ethan's mother's words, clearly mocking, made me frown. Meeting for the first time, and with someone who is going to marry their important son, no less. This level of rudeness was excessive. It's true. Eating such luxurious food every day must be enviable. But I couldn't stir up trouble there. I made non-committal remarks to smooth over the situation.
Did you know my second son graduated from a prestigious university abroad? And look at this vase. It's quite expensive. A gift from a famous artist for my son's graduation.
Ethan's father boasted, showing me a photo on his smartphone. Despite not asking, his parents continued to talk about themselves. Ethan's younger brother was the only one who seemed indifferent to both his parents and us, quietly focusing on his meal. Though the conversation wasn't particularly interesting, I couldn't let my disinterest show. I maintained a polite facade and nodding along. Then Ethan's father then began to probe deeply.
I heard you two don't have parents. Were you properly educated?
He asked with his smile fading into a condescending look. Despite the distasteful implication, I responded calmly. I took responsibility for raising my sister, and now she manages our company successfully. Yet, Ethan's father looked at us with a pitying smile and laughed.
Running a business, huh? It's probably just some struggling small to mid-sized company. And the education provided by an unmarried person is limited.
His words made Ethan's mother laugh, and even the disinterested brother chuckled. I was infuriated by their words. What do they know about Lucy and me? We had no reason to be judged like that by outsiders. But raising my voice would only spoil relations. I raised Lucy with all my heart, ensuring she never felt the absence of our parents. I replied calmly, though they seemed uninterested in listening.
Normally, one would consider the other's background, but…
Ethan's father paused, glancing sideways at Ethan. And then he let out a heavy sigh.
It doesn't matter who the eldest marries. We have a capable second son, right, Ethan?
He said sternly, glaring at Ethan.
As the eldest, you should have taken over the family business. But marrying such a lowly woman means the succession will not be yours.
Ethan clenched his fists, his lips tight, under the harsh words of his father.
Yes,
Ethan replied in a barely audible voice.
A failed eldest son is of no use to us. Do whatever you want with him, just don't cause us any trouble.
Ethan's father commanded without any regard for Ethan's feelings. Ethan's strained voice and pained expression were heartbreaking. How could they speak so cruelly? Isn't he still their family? Ethan was accomplished, having graduated from a reputable university and participated in renowned sports competitions. But it seemed that his younger brother graduated from a more renowned university. Is it just because of that Ethan has been oppressed? No matter how hard Ethan tried, his efforts and feelings were trampled upon. Remembering the fair and loving faces of our own parents, I felt a surge of anguish. Their constant negation, without considering their son's feelings, made my patience run out. Just then, Lucy, sitting beside me, spoke up first.
I understand your thoughts. It seems our company's values don't align. We will be canceling our employees' accounts.
Lucy said with a chill in her voice. Her expression was unreadable, but she must have been furious. I had raised Lucy, but I had never seen her like this before. Yet, Ethan's family just laughed it off.
You think we care about the bank accounts of a company run by people like you? Cancel them if you want.
Ethan's father mocked. He continued.
Besides, we don't need that useless son anymore. Since we're severing ties, don't come begging us for money.
Ethan's father said this with a mocking glare.
I see. Then we will take Ethan with us and excuse ourselves.
Lucy stated, standing up, taking Ethan's hand, and leaving the room. I followed her, and we left the place. Back home, Ethan broke the heavy silence.
I'm sorry for the unpleasant experience.
He apologized, looking remorseful. Though it wasn't his fault. I gently placed my hand on Ethan's shoulder. You have endured well so far, Ethan. I'm proud of you. While saying this, I patted his back. Ethan seemed relieved and began to shed tears. Gradually sobbing, Ethan continued to cry for a while. A week later, while discussing business with Lucy, we received a call from Ethan's father.
About the bank account issue the other day. Could you please reconsider?
He was calling because he found out the account Lucy planned to close had several $1 million in it and begged us not to cancel it.
The decision has already been communicated to the board and emailed to all employees. It's final and cannot be reversed.
Disgusted by his father's nonsense, Lucy firmly stated the cancellation was final and hung up. After that, she kept getting calls from Ethan's father, but Lucy ignored them all. This is just the beginning, she said with a sly smile. Another week passed. Ethan's parents showed up unannounced at our headquarters. With no scheduled appointments, we let them into the reception room. Lucy, with a mischievous grin, knocked on the door. Ethan's father, clearly flustered, spoke incoherently. Essentially, the account closure Lucy initiated led many local companies to do the same. Lucy had been actively supporting local businesses. She's the head of a local business association. The community, knowing our family since our parents were alive, has always trusted us. My parents had always funded the association. So everyone cherishes us, continuing our parents' legacy. Many are grateful to Lucy for her generous support. Consequently, when they heard about our decision, they refused to deal with a bank that prioritizes wealth and power over values, especially one Lucy chose to leave. This led local businesses to start canceling their accounts, perceiving potential instability. Ethan's parents underestimated Lucy, thinking she was just a placeholder following our parents. They're now facing the consequences of their arrogance and disregard for people's feelings.
We'll go bankrupt. Please help us.
Ethan's father's bank, known for undervaluing local small businesses, lost clients rapidly. They managed to survive by keeping a few of the big companies they valued, but that won't last long. Lucy's hesitation frustrated Ethan's mother.
Acting all high and mighty just because we showed a little humility. If you go through with closing the account, I won't approve of your marriage to my son.
My anger flared at her audacity. Weren't you the ones who severed ties? Family isn't just a convenient tool for you. I lashed out, leaving Ethan's parents speechless. Don't come to us just because you're in financial trouble. Ethan has also cut ties with you. Please leave. Their words returned to haunt them as they left our office hastily. Later, Ethan's father tried to save the bank with his favored younger son. Due to the recession, contracts with key large clients failed, and I heard through the rumors that the bank eventually collapsed. Further investigation into the bankruptcy revealed embezzlement and fraudulent transactions by Ethan's father. He was arrested, and his younger son was also under investigation for being complicit. When Ethan's brother was in university, a series of bad affairs that his father wiped out with money came to light, and his friends left. Ethan's mother was also found to have been involved in insider trading, leading to the entire family facing legal consequences. Even with potential probation, returning to their previous lives seems impossible. The end for these three, consumed by money and power, was tragic. Meanwhile, Lucy, Ethan, and I began living in the house our parents built. I told them they didn't need to worry about me, but they responded, "What are you talking about? We want to repay our gratitude, and I want to stay with my beloved brother. Then, we ended up living together. Living with my kind sister and her husband. I feel truly fortunate. Our company is growing and expanding steadily. The principle of valuing people's sentiments, a legacy of our parents, has permeated the company and has been thoroughly inherited by Lucy. I believe my current happiness is because I have always valued people's feelings. Let's continue to treasure these sentiments moving forward. Every day, I greet my parents' photo in the hallway, feeling their smiles in return as I say, "I'm leaving." I feel their smiles encouraging us forward.